Welcome back to Respoiled. Today, I have another captivating story to share with you. But before we dive in, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications, so you'll never miss out on all of my latest uploads. Now let's get started. Individuals in a futuristic dystopia are governed by the administration known as the collective, with people referred to as members. While most illnesses have been eradicated, and there's no violence or crime, the elimination of emotions has also occurred. Now, it's prohibited to express any feelings or interact with other members. Love and marriage are non-existent, and babies are conceived through artificial insemination when a specific woman is called upon to contribute to society. Additionally, there are no colors or decorations, everyone dresses in white and lacks individuality. Their meals lack flavor, and their only pastimes consist of mundane, repetitive activities such as solving dull puzzles. They bear chips on their arms for constant surveillance by computers, which must be scanned each time they board the train or enter their workplace. Among these individuals is Silas, who adheres to the same monotonous routine every day, waking up to a self-made bed, consuming a tasteless breakfast, and heading to work. Silence pervades the train rides and workplaces, even minor expressions like a faint smile are deemed deviant behavior, as emphasized by screens scattered throughout. These screens also caution members about switched-on syndrome (SOS), an illness prompting the resurgence of emotions, urging them to seek medical attention at the slightest sign of symptoms. Silas works as an illustrator for Atmos, spending his entire day drawing on a screen. His art stands in stark contrast to his environment, likely influenced by a documentary he listens to while working. This documentary recounts the Great War, a time when the collective fought to separate from the peninsula, an emotionally charged and chaotic place. Throughout the day, there are two instances when workers engage in conversation. The first occurs during project meetings, where ideas are discussed, and Silas pays close attention to Nia's suggestions. The second is during lunch, where everyone ensures there is enough distance between them as they eat. Their conversation remains mundane, revolving around factual topics such as a coworker's return from conception duty. As the day concludes, Silas witnesses officers arresting a sick couple. Back at his apartment, Silas follows his monotonous routine, a meal prepared by the home AI, solving yet another generic puzzle, and retiring to bed, mirroring the routine of everyone else in the building. The following day, Silas watches the news, discovering that the sick couple will be relocated to a defective emotional neuropathy facility or DEN. Members are once again urged to report any signs of SOS, whether in themselves or their coworkers. Later at work, an employee self-deletes by falling off the roof, a common occurrence in this society. The employees approach the window to view the body, yet nobody except Nia appears disturbed. Her subtle gestures catch Silas's attention, though he keeps this observation to himself. Following this, all Amos employees convene for another meeting. As everyone focuses on the screen, Silas seizes the opportunity to observe Nia, contemplating whether she might be unwell. Over time, his prolonged observation of the attractive woman begins to affect him. Later at home, Silas feels nervous during dinner as thoughts of Nia consume him, causing him difficulty in completing his puzzle. The next day, during another work meeting, Silas frequently zones out and receives reprimands for his inattention. That night, he dreams of standing on a roof, and as he feels like he's about to fall, he jolts awake. It's his first ever dream, leaving him bewildered and disoriented, leading to him accidentally bumping into a wall. The next morning, he notices a bruise on his forehead and visits the health center. There, he witnesses a woman crying while watching a video about SOS and its 4 stages of symptoms. Jonas inquires about Silas's stage, but Silas denies being ill. However, Jonas identifies him as stage 2. Later, Silas informs the doctor about the nightmare, prompting an immediate test which confirms he has SOS. For a moment, Silas fears he'll be sent to a DEN facility, but the doctor assures him they're developing a cure, so he'll be fine if his symptoms remain manageable. Later, checking his home computer, Silas notices his profile already indicates stage 1 SOS. At work, when someone asks about his bruise, Silas fibs, attributing it to a Tai Chi class to conceal his illness. Though his coworker doubts him, Nia surprisingly backs his story. During lunch, a bumblebee lands on their table, and Nia captures it before releasing it. Silas finds himself captivated by her as she discusses the marvel of bees flying. After work, Silas heads to the health center to collect shades and medication. At home, Silas watches a video about SOS for members, learning it's a genetic issue where the emotion-suppressing gene malfunctions, and only inhibitor medicine can delay severe symptoms. The next workday, Silas finds himself experiencing distracting new sensations that disrupt his tasks. He struggles with focus, faces depressive episodes, and becomes overly sensitive to light. Despite these challenges, his artwork takes on unconventional forms. During a restroom break, Silas has an awkward encounter with Nia. Later, he discreetly trails Nia to her apartment, unnoticed. Silas decides to stop taking the medicine after his experience. The next day, he deliberately swaps roles with a coworker to request Nia's assistance with his work. Although Nia finds it odd, she assists him nonetheless. Their interaction catches the attention of their superior, who ensures it's strictly professional. Despite Nia's valuable feedback, Silas finds himself captivated by her expressions. His fixation grows to the point where he sneaks into the office at night to listen to her recordings on her computer. During the subsequent work meeting, Silas accidentally spills his drink, revealing his shades when a coworker helps him. Silas admits he has SOS, but despite his assurance of non-contagion, they isolate him from the group, a decision that disappoints him when Nia agrees. Henceforth, Silas works in a distant corner. After work, he continues to shadow Nia, who eventually catches him and warns of reporting unless he stops. Silas mentions Nia's SOS, prompting her denial until he points out her failure to report him, leaving her speechless. The following day, they feign normalcy, yet Nia avoids him, though Silas observes her nervous hand gestures, validating his suspicion. In the office later, tension thickens, prompting Nia to retreat to the bathroom, followed by Silas. In the stall, they grapple with their emotions awkwardly. Silas tentatively touches Nia's hands and face, marveling at the sensation. Eventually, Nia leans into him, and they share their first hug, both savoring the warmth. Nia confides she's been ill for a year, fearful and awaiting a cure, asserting they can't be together. Silas respects her decision but can't resist a goodbye kiss. The next day, despite seeking distance, Nia finds herself unable to shake thoughts of Silas. Silas reciprocates every glance and shadows Nia until they find themselves alone in the bathroom stall once more. They draw close, nearly merging as they revel in the warmth of human contact. Regrettably, their intimacy is disrupted by another person entering the bathroom, prompting Silas to exit the stall alone. It turns out to be his manager, who inquires if Silas has contemplated self-deletion. Silas responds that he'll only consider it in later stages. As they leave, the manager notices Nia's computer is on and warns Silas about rumors of him snooping on Nia, urging him to cease lest he be reported. The next day, after work, Nia waits for Silas in the stall, but he doesn't arrive. Later, they cross paths in a pathway and discuss the manager's threat. Silas declares his intention to request a job transfer, and Nia departs without a word. Upon reaching her apartment, she experiences a complete breakdown. The following morning, Silas submits his resignation, stating his need to find a job where his illness won't disrupt his coworkers. Soon, Silas begins working at a nature sanctuary, and Nia grapples with his replacement. She struggles with the situation, reminded of Silas every time she encounters his cup, which she eventually takes back to her place. Her work performance also starts to decline. Sometime later, Silas encounters Jonas and opens up about his recent feelings regarding Nia. Jonas quickly grasps the situation, as he, too, had a connection with a woman, though their story didn't conclude positively. Subsequently, Jonas invites Silas to a support group for people with SOS, and Silas willingly attends a meeting. The attendees express fear of the DEN facility, and when Silas inquires, Bess explains that half the individuals sent there end up self-deleting, while the other half undergo an emotion-suppressing treatment. Bess, a doctor who conceals her SOS, attends to the patients at the facility. Upon returning home, Silas finds Nia waiting for him. She's incredibly nervous and frustrated, so Silas holds her to calm her down. This simple touch evolves into more, and soon they engage in intimate activities together. Once they're done, they're so amazed by the experience that they discuss the concept of love and vow not to be apart again. From then on, they act as strangers during the day, but at night they reunite as lovers. They go on secret dates, getting to know each other better, and share aspects of their lives like dinners and showers. Nia soon regains her mood, and her work performance improves. Sometimes, when they pass each other on the street during the day, they let their hands brush against each other. One day, a group of officers appears to make a significant announcement. The collective has found a cure for SOS. Silas and Nia mutually decide they don't want the cure. Silas brings Nia to the support group to share the news. They intend to escape to the peninsula. Despite warnings from others, including Bess's story of a man who died attempting escape, the couple remains resolute. Witnessing their profound love, Jonas agrees to assist and arranges their escape in 3 days. The following day, as Nia arrives at the office, an alarm sounds, and an officer immediately takes her away. Later, Nia shares distressing news with Silas. She's been summoned for conception duty, which means she can't leave because she won't be allowed on trains. However, Silas suggests a solution. She should visit a doctor to get tested for SOS. Once they confirm she has the condition, she won't be eligible anymore. The next day, at the health center, the doctor tests Nia's blood and is shocked to find she's pregnant, a severe offense in their society. Meanwhile, Silas waits for Nia at their meeting spot, but she doesn't arrive, causing him to worry. He goes to the health center and is devastated to learn that Nia is being taken away to the DEN facility. Upon arrival, Nia is restrained and treated like a pariah for her actions. Bess soon learns about her situation and contacts the others. Meanwhile, Silas seeks help from Jonas, who assures him that he and Bess are already working on a plan, and Silas must wait. The next morning, Bess utilizes her doctor privilege to take Nia from her room and brings her to meet with Jonas and the others. Bess outlines their plan to exchange Nia's identity with a woman who recently self-deleted and inserts a new chip into Nia's arm to assume the deceased woman's identity. After dressing up and feeling better, Nia expresses gratitude to Bess and swiftly departs. She successfully passes through the station gates with the assistance of the new chip. Meanwhile, Jonas's group attempts to exit but encounters officers blocking their path. They opt for the elevator, only to be betrayed by a member who promptly informs the authorities, leading to their arrest. Upon learning about Jonas's group's arrest, Silas rushes to the DEN facility to inquire about Nia, only to receive the devastating news of her passing from the guard. Overwhelmed by heartbreak, Silas contemplates self-deletion as he stands on the roof of the company building. Despite much hesitation, he finally descends. Meanwhile, Nia heads to Silas's apartment to await his arrival, but he fails to appear. Eventually, growing weary of waiting, she ventures to the sanctuary in search of him, but he is nowhere to be found. Unsure of what else to do, she returns to Silas's residence. As night descends, Silas eventually arrives, and Nia rushes into his embrace, only to find his reaction subdued. Upon closer inspection, Nia realizes that Silas has taken the medication to cure his SOS, leaving him with only 5 hours of emotions remaining. Determined to triumph, Nia encourages Silas to resist the medication as she touches him, and they reaffirm their decision to escape despite the circumstances. Eventually, they drift off to sleep together, hoping that her embrace will sustain his emotions. Upon waking in the morning, Nia finds herself alone in bed. Silas, having risen early to adhere to the routine, is already dressed and prepared to depart. He acknowledges that he recalls their love but no longer feels it. Nevertheless, they depart together as Nia remains resolute in her determination not to give up. Heading to the station, Nia senses a considerable distance between them and frets about the success of their plan. Upon boarding the train, they sit in silence reminiscent of their initial stages, intensifying Nia's concerns. Nevertheless, a glimmer of hope emerges as Silas reaches out to touch her hand. Don't forget to like, subscribe and enable notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.